It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that one and done train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. My name is Jay Heinrich, and if you don't know, now you know. I'm the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train, joined tonight on your viewing device by the man known around these parts as El Capitan himself, at MC Holland 34 on X, the comma chaser, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Another week of college hoops in the books, and that means it's time for our weekly news and note show. The OGs in the chat know that means you're in store for an opening possession from both me and Mike as we give you our favorite headlines from the week that has gone by, followed by everyone's favorite segment in college basketball. Of course, I'm talking about the mid-major minute. And then with only 2 weeks left until we have a bracket in our hands, of course, we got to chop it up about all the teams on the bubble in our Bubble Watch segment. And of course, to wrap up the show, you get the one and done top 25 power rankings, which are renowned throughout the galaxy. So stick around to the end of the show for that. Hit the like and subscribe buttons already. Join 1,774 of your fellow hoop heads that have already smashed that button. Hop in the chat like Darren already has. The pilot is here. He's the pilot. Mike is the captain of the ship. I do the train. I'm the conductor. Darren, the self-appointed pilot there, ready to rock. Before we get to the opening possession, though, one and done bracket challenge, guys and gals. Hop in there in the chat. And right there above my head as well, right there, that QR code. One and done bracket challenge up in there. And win title of Oracle of One and Done. That's right. We're playing for bracket, of course, but also the title of Oracle of all of One and Done. So make sure you hop over there in the bracket challenge and join us there. Let's enjoy the next half hour or so of college basketball talk. And it all starts with Mike's opening possession. Mike, what it do?
What it do, man? Man, looking forward to like an epic slate of hoops yesterday because we had our power rankings 1 through 3 taking on ranked teams, and they were all blowouts. So, it's just kind of one of those weekends. Arizona getting its lick back on Kansas. So I guess I'll start there. If you remember, Jay, the Jayhawks gave the Wildcats their first L of the season back on February 9th in Lawrence, and yesterday, Arizona returned the favor, a 23-point blowout to basically wrap up the Big 12 regular season crown. So for the Cats, it was all about dominating the glass, 46-22. No, you heard 46-22. That's more than double. That's a problem. So freshman wing Braden Berry's had an epic game, man. 20 points, 12 boards, 5 assists. Mo Krivas got to go in the second half, finished with 13 points, 10 boards. For Kansas, just not able to get anything going from the field. And if you're not going to get a rebound, it's going to be a 20-point blowout. Darren Peterson was 8 for 21 from the field. The ball is pretty sticky, Jay. They only had 8 assists. But, hey, I guess on the bright side, Darren Peterson's played 3 straight games with 30-plus minutes. So that's something to look forward. I don't think we're going to be seeing business decision anymore as we go through March here. And then second point I want to make is Sean Miller and the fantastic job he's done with the Horns in year one. It is definitely time for me to eat some crow on the Texas Longhorns. They went into College Station and knocked off the Aggies 76-70 and now sit firmly into the tournament picture. I'd give credit to Coach Miller for getting this offense fine-tuned and realizing that he had to start Pope and Heidi and basically sacrifice defense for him to have a successful year. And that's what they've done. They're up to 7th in the country in offensive efficiency, but when you start Pope and Heidi, you're going to be sub 100 in defensive efficiency. So going to have to play really, really good on the offensive end to win any type of tournament games. And, still the way things were looking in January for the Horns, to have this roster in the tournament's a pretty fine job. And then finally, Jay, just want to end up with St. John's bouncing back. We had the live reaction midweek to the Red Storm embarrassing loss at UConn where they missed, the final 24 field goal attempts. And yesterday they suffocated Villanova 89-57. It was nice to actually see them, which I was calling for. Like, why are we not giving Zuby Ejiofor the ball every single possession multiple times? He had 12 field goal attempts, led them in that category, finished with a triple-double, 16, 12, and 10. And, this is a recipe, not 5 attempts. He shouldn't, not be touching the ball and taking shots. That's not how they're going to win games. So Definitely awesome to see them bounce back. Villanova, the third team getting in from the Big East of the tournament. So, St. John's still kind of one of those teams where we don't know we're going to get on a night-to-night basis.
40 points they scored in that game, Mike. It was the lowest total that they'd had in 13 years. And they not only did they finish the game on an 0 for 24 streak, but they had another like 8-minute stretch in the first half that they didn't score either. It was one of the ugliest games that I've seen, one of the more impressive wins of the season for UConn. But the Johnnies bouncing back, obviously, suffocated was that was a proper adjective there to describe the performance against Villanova. And I'm going to go ahead and start my opening possession here with the resilience of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Everyone, I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of people left this team for dead. And then everyone's going to look at them when the brackets come out, and nobody wants to see them on the line in the first round of the playoffs, or the playoffs. I mean, technically the playoffs.
Kind of.
Kind of, but nobody wants to see these guys on the line across from them in the tournament at all, even with the loss of Toppin. And here's the thing, they're going to be ranked high, and even though like they're going to have that higher seed, people are going to be pointing at them and say, hey, maybe we can attack them, right? But all they've done since that fateful day, Mike, is win 3 straight, blowing out Kansas State, scored 80 on a tough Cincy defense, and then went into Ames on Saturday and pulled out a big win. Christian Anderson has been an absolute warrior, shouldering even more of that load, averaging 22, 6, and 8 during this stretch. And they've really pulled together. Don't be surprised if they put up a good fight in the tournament. I think even with that loss of Toppin, nobody really wants to play this Texas Tech team. I hope people don't take them lightly no matter where they're seated, because that's a really well-coached team. And I feel like he could just take people and just plug them into this system right now. And that's a good program that they have going on right now up there in Lubbock. And then finally, in my opening possession here, Ohio State finding its signature win. Got the big one on Sunday against Purdue here. Been a lot of talk about the Buckeyes on the bubble. They don't really have anything in the non-con that they can point to, right? But what they got on Sunday is a massive win in Big Ten play, which pushes them to 18-11, 10-8 in the conference. Bruce Thornton, their stud point guard, was in jeopardy of never making the tournament. That doesn't even sound like that could be a real thing, right? But until today, I feel like it's a little bit safer. You can probably breathe a little bit easier, as long as they don't screw it up at Penn State this Wednesday, who just won, by the way. Yeah. It's not like they've rolled over either. So they have to go ahead and take care of business at Penn State, and then taking care of business at home, of course, against Indiana on Saturday. No matter what, they could have worked this hard to get here, but if you lose to Penn State, it's probably outside looking in, my friends. Yeah. And then a loss to Indiana would probably put them in a spot where they have to win at least a game in the Big Ten tournament to feel good. So right now, though, I'd say they're on the right side of that bubble looking in, thanks to that signature win for the Buckeyes. Of course, though, it's Purdue in March, so let the jokes write themselves, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. Let us know in the chat what you think about Ohio State being on the right side of the bubble, Purdue slipping in March a little bit. Which Purdue team are we going to get? Any of the teams that we talked about in our opening possession, let us know. We'd love to hear from you in the chat. Our guy Ryan Osterman from Bracket Bids hopping in there. Good to see you in the chat as well. And Darren asking, hey Mike, who did win that bracket challenge last year for One and Done? Was that our friend Mr. Darren right there? I believe it was.
Yes, it was Darren.
The title of Oracle wasn't on the line though, friends, unfortunately. Now it is. So hop into our One and Done bracket challenge. The link is in the chat for sure. We love to see the liveliest live chat in all of college hoops on fire like it is tonight and most nights here on the show. So hop in there, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and do it now so you can pay attention during everyone's favorite segment in all of college hoops. That's right. It's time once again for the Mid-Major Minute.
All right, on this week's edition of the Mid-Major Minute, conference tournaments start tomorrow. I repeat, conference tournaments start tomorrow. Looks like we're going to have 7 multi-bid conferences. So if you do some math, That means there's 24 mid majors that are going to fight it out for an automatic bid. Now, teams that are safe as far as the regular season conference championship, want to shout out these teams. And then also, going to point out where we rated them in our low, mid, and high tier during the offseason. So we'll start with Belmont in the Missouri Valley. They were in our high tier. Congrats to them. Liberty, Conference USA, also in the high tier. Wright State out of the Horizon League winning the conference regular season title. They were slotted in our mid tier. Troy out of the Sun Belt and North Dakota State out of the Summit also collected their regular season trophies. Troy was in our high tier while North Dakota State didn't quite have them as high. They were in our mid tier as well. We got High Point out of the Big South, was featured in our high tier. East Tennessee State out of the SoCon in our high tier. And then we had a share in the A-Sun regular season championship. We had Central Arkansas, who was in the low tier. So an awesome job there to Central Arkansas. And then Austin Peay grabbing a share of that title out of our mid tier. So no teams in the high tier claiming the A-Sun. We'll see what happens during the conference tournament. Merrimack at the MAAC was in our mid tier. They locked up their regular season title. Tennessee State and Moorhead sharing the OVC, kind of like what we saw in the A-Sun. Tennessee State in the mid tier, Moorhead in our low tier. So congrats to both of those teams. Navy out of the Patriot in the high tier for us during the offseason. Bethune-Cookman out of the SWAC, Long Island out of the NEC, also out of the high tier during our preseason. And then UMBC out of the America East in our mid-tier. So, yeah, you look at it and you've got some undecided conferences as we head into this week. In the A-10, you got St. Louis leading VCU by 1 game with 2 to go. South Florida in the AAC leads Tulsa and Wichita State by 2 games with 2 to go. In the WAC, Utah Valley leads Cal Baptist by 1 with 2 games to go. In the Big West, Hawaii and UC Irvine are tied with 2 games to go. In the Ivy, Yale leads Harvard by 1 game with 1 game to go. In the Big Sky, Portland State leads Montana State and Eastern Washington by 1 game with 1 to go. Big matchup today in the CAA. UNC Wilmington was played and beat Charleston today, and now they have a half-game lead. Charleston is done with their regular season schedule. UNC Wilmington up half a game because they still have to play 1 game. So interesting things happening there in the CAA. In the MAC, Miami, Ohio, undefeated, leads Akron by 1 game with 2 to go. So they could still not even win their regular season conference championship, which is crazy to say. Out of the Southland, SFA leading McNeese by 1 game with 1 to go. And then the MEAC, Howard leading Norfolk and Morgan State by 1 game with 2 to go. That's a look at what's going down as we are 2 weeks from having all 31 auto qualifiers, and that will wrap up this week's edition of the Mid-Major Minute.
Love it. Good stuff, Mike. Everyone's favorite segment in college basketball, the Mid-Major Minute. Love that breakdown there. I'd be remiss if I did not bring up the absolute craziness that resulted out of the seedings in the Sun Belt men's tournament. Obviously,
crazy.
Already the coolest tournament that there is. You just got to keep winning and winning and winning. And that just long single line of games that get you down to the championship game there. But there were 6 teams, Mike, that were 11-6 in the Sun Belts. I said 11-7, excuse me, in the Sun Belt. And Texas State beat Appalachian State the other night in San Marcos on senior night. So basically, what does that mean? Oh, you have the same record? You're going to have to win your first game to then beat Appalachian State again in the next round because they're seated ahead of you. And that's the craziness of the Sun Belt. That's what happens when you get 6 teams all with the same exact record. What's that?
They got the ladder tournament too, where it's like,
yeah, love that tournament. I love that. Yeah. I love that tournament style, man. It's the coolest tournament in college basketball. Argue with the wall. I love it. Yeah, and a little bit of craziness out there in the Sun Belt. Loving all of that. Loving the mid-major minutes, and of course, I'm loving some Bubble Watch, Mike. It's bubble time. We got 2 weeks until we have brackets in hand, and everybody, of course, will be hanging out in the One and Done Bracket Invitational. The link for that is in the chat. So it's also right there. QR code next to my dome right there on your viewing device. So as of our guy Lenardi, this Weekend, Mike. The last four in Santa Clara and New Mexico, both coming off of wins, and Auburn and Indiana right there, literally on the bubble with losses. Some of this could change in the morning as well. But as of this weekend, right, we got Santa Clara, Auburn, Indiana, and New Mexico. Last four in. Last four out: San Diego State, Ohio State, Cal, and VCU, followed by Virginia Tech, USC, who is a dumpster fire going on right now all on its own. That's a different story. Cincinnati and Seton Hall. Mike, it does feel like, though, that the picture is starting to get clearer. Looking at Auburn's resume, right, lost 7 out of their last 8, just 6-10 in conference play.
Yeah, and if you're been on college basketball Twitter over the last day, it's the Bruce Pearl going to bat for his son, right? They're 6-10 in the SEC. People are talking, he's on there talking about Miami of Ohio. If they lose, then they're not, Auburn should, and some of these power schools should probably be in. So I don't know, Jay, like you look at their resume and they have like in the non-con, they beat St. John's and NC State, in conference play with the SEC, obviously going to have multiple opportunities. Florida, Arkansas, and Kentucky, they got wins. They play LSU next. They should get that one. They go to Alabama. If they get that, they're probably in. But the thing is like if they split that, we have to start asking ourselves, it's kind of like college football, man. Like, are we picking the best teams or we're picking the most deserving teams? Like, my thoughts are like if you win every single game, and that like it just doesn't happen, right? Miami of Ohio, and then they lose in the conference tournament. I feel like they should still be in, but that means you're putting two MAC teams in. And of course, they just didn't play the type of schedule that an Auburn has played. So this is a tough spot. Maybe something to look at if Miami of Ohio were to win the regular season and go undefeated. But Auburn's just kind of one of those teams where, like, if you look at it, it's like gross, 15-14. I get it. They play in the SEC, man. I don't know. It's kind of a tough spot.
Yeah, you're talking about Miami of Ohio making it, and we had a poll over on at One and Done CVB on X with 44 votes in. 77% of the votes say that Miami, Ohio should get an at-large bid if they don't win, even if they don't win the MAC tournament. Let us know what you think in the chat. Should they get a bid if they don't win their tournament? Should the MAC get 2 teams? If Miami of Ohio loses in the tournament, let us know in the chat. Let us know over at One and Done CVB as well over on X. Give us a follow over there. As we move on now to New Mexico's resume, just beat San Diego State yesterday. Obviously, a team in this same neck of the woods as them, and they're 13-5 in conference. Mike, what do you feel like New Mexico? How do you feel like they're standing right now?
Yeah, I feel like they got to be in, right? We were talking about it last show where it's like, well, why would the Mountain West not have 2 teams in? This has basically been play-ins for New Mexico. 13-5 in the Mountain West should get you in, Jay. They have non-con wins over Santa Clara, VCU. They're on the bubble. Like, come on. They even beat Mississippi State. I know Mississippi State's not great this year, but still a Power 5 school. They got Colorado State, and they still have to play Utah State left. So if they win out, obviously they're clearly in. I think even if they just get Colorado State and lose at Utah State, right, they should be in, man. I just don't know that if you look at the bubble line, like, who has a stronger case outside of Ohio State, and they just got this win today, right? So, yeah, I just don't believe that the Mountain West should only get 1 team. That doesn't make any sense. They got to at least get 2.
Lastly, here in our Bubble Watch segment, Santa Clara here. All 3 of these teams that we're discussing a little bit deeper are on that last 4 in line. And Santa Clara, only 1 win over a KenPom top 50 team, and that was against St. Mary's at home. 15-3 in the WCC, 24-7 overall. Is that an impressive enough resume for you, Mike, to get them in right now?
No, this is my problem, right? If you look at KenPom, they have the WCC. We've talked about this. They're 8th in the KenPom strength of conference, and Mountain West is 6th. The A10 is stronger per KenPom than the WCC. So why are we putting 3 teams in? Look, like Santa Clara, 1-5 in those KenPom top 50 games, including the loss to New Mexico. So New Mexico should be in, just based on it. Doesn't make any sense not to. Obviously, the schedule for the WCC regular season is done. There's the WCC tourney left. Does Santa Clara have a legit case over New Mexico? I don't believe so. Do they have a legit case over in Indiana and Auburn? That's kind of tough because you look at some of the wins that Auburn and Indiana obviously get to have, whereas someone like Santa Clara has to, beat a Gonzaga, beat a St. Mary's in conference. Otherwise, they had a pretty good non-con top, but they didn't really play anybody inside the top 50. So it's kind of one of those things, Jay. Like I just when I look at the resume for New Mexico and Santa Clara, it's clear to me that New Mexico should be in.
Do you think Auburn, when it's all said and done, do you think that Auburn will make the tournament?
Oh, man, if obviously if they get the one at Alabama, they're in. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see, man. It's gonna be tough. If they lose these two games, though, they got to go.
Spotlight on you right now. Instant reaction. Will Auburn make the tournament? Yes or no?
Nah, they're not going to make it.
No. All right, that's what I'm talking about. There we go. Straight from our guy, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Collins, right there. Let us know what you think. Will Auburn make it? Let us know what you think in the chats. Hit the subscribe buttons. 1,774 of your fellow hoopheads have done it. Let's get to 1776 tonight. How wonderful would that be? Push all those buttons if you haven't already, or if you're watching on Monday morning, starting your week off. The best part of waking up, one and done in your cup. You got to start your day off right. And if you're starting it with one and done, it's probably one of the best ways that you can start your day. I know that's right. So hit all those buttons, like and subscribe. Hop in the chats. Ryan letting Mike know he likes the Santa Clara breakdown here. Got to win games that get you in, and they haven't done that. Yeah, I mean, again, you play the games that are on your schedule, that are in front of you. And if you don't win the important ones and you win a whole lot of unimportant games, that's how this works. 100% agree with you, my man, Ryan. Good to see you. Keep the chat going. Of course, Darren keeping it company in there. Oh, yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I do have the Minnesota shirt on today. That's right. Shout out to you, Ryan. Of course. So, all right, hop in there with Ryan and Darren. That's the Bubble Watch. Show your broskies and basketball some love. Hit the subscribe buttons. Hop in the chat. Join the One and Done Bracket Invitational. You've got that link in the chat as well. We're going to flash up the QR code by the end of the show also. But not before we get to the Galaxy revered top 25 one and done power rankings, of course. And yes, Darren, we do see Miami, Ohio right there in the 25th position. And what I gotta look at Darren's tweet here, because we did get some. It was asking will we move them off of 25 ever? No. The answer is no. If they lose, yes, but they won't go above that in our top 25 power rankings, Darren. But they are hanging out there because they're taking care of their business, and so is St. Louis, right? The Billikens took care of business this week as well. And then the Gales of St. Mary rejoining our top 25 after a clutch win over rival Gonzaga.
Yeah, this man, there's a lot of shuffling going on in our power rankings, man. Like, a lot of teams lost. Hey, look at it. Like, Louisville only falling a spot, lost both games this week, although both on the road. Wisconsin dropped to a terrible Oregon team. But they rebounded nicely, and they outlasted, a bunch of teams around them to kind of move up a couple of spots. So kind of looking at like whole picture status than more recency biased on our power rankings here, man. So yeah, definitely an interesting, especially from this 16 through 25 spots here.
I don't know if the gravity is not working tonight, but now all of a sudden having the ticker at the top of the screen is something I'm not used to. Just look, oh my gosh, there it is. I love it at the top. Let us know. It's in the chat. It's better at the top, right? I'm loving this. Shout out to our guy, Eric the Blue, pushing the buttons tonight and making the magic happen as we move on now to spots 20 through 16 in our power rankings. Kentucky coming in at number 20, snapping their 3-game losing skid with wins over South Carolina and Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilt one was my favorite of the two. They're just one of the most up and down roller coaster type teams in the entire country. And if they're playing like they can play, that's a Sweet 16, Elite Eight type team. I find it easier to believe that they'll lose in the first round than they'll make the Sweet 16. That's just me personally right now.
Yeah.
But that's what you get with Kentucky in this moment. And then thanks to a bunch of teams like BYU and Iowa and Tennessee taking those L's, man, Kentucky entering our top 25.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa losing at Penn State, Tennessee losing a couple in a row here, BYU losing a couple in a row here. It's just those are teams that we kind of expect to be around this, the 16 to 25 spots, and not this week, man. Arkansas, no change here after beating up Texas A&M. They did get crushed by Florida. Not going to hold that against them because Florida's crushing everybody right now. Kansas dropping back 3 spots. Pretty ugly showing at Arizona. Didn't love what I saw from them. Profiled that earlier in the show. And then Tech moving up 3 spots after you talked about their nice week, Jay.
Graham McCasland, basically when Chris Beard left that program for dead, like I was one that did not think that Tech would survive Chris Beard leaving, and I can say that I was wrong about that with Grant McCasland. And even hiring him at the time, I was like, "This is who you think is going to fill those shoes?" And I heard a couple of times, just it makes a little bit of sense. Let it cook. And sure enough, man, it's worked out for the Red Raiders up in Lubbock. So McCasland doing a good job up there, moving up a few spots in our power rankings. Moving on now to 15 through 11 in our top 25 here on One and Done as everybody hits those like and subscribe buttons. We got Nebraska looking nicey as our guy John Gruden. Not my guy, John Gruden. I mean, somebody's guy, John Gruden. He's just nicey, right? Nebraska looking nicey after a 15-point win at USC, which I am going to mention one more time. Dumpster fire. Illinois falling back 4 spots after dropping back-to-back games against UCLA and Michigan. How are you feeling about Illinois right now? I know we've been high, we've been low on them, and that's another team that's sort of been up and down, dropping 4 spots in our poll this week. How are you feeling about them and the rest of this tier?
Yeah, offensively they're awesome. They haven't gotten any stops, and that's their MO, right? That they're elite offensively, kind of like Texas, elite offensively. Wisconsin, are they going to get any stops? Because then if they do, they're going to be able to pull off major upsets and be able to beat anybody in the country. So, yeah, Illinois, wouldn't be surprised to see them fighting back, surging into our, closer to our top 10 by the end of the season here. Alabama, North Carolina, up a couple of spots here just due to their impressive weeks. And then Bama all of a sudden has an 8-game win streak. And then UNC on a 3-game win streak without Caleb Wilson. So after they got smacked at NC State, they've rebounded nicely against quality opponents too.
North Carolina finding ways to win while they're waiting on Wilson to get back is impressive. But for me, you're talking about Illinois here, obviously number 1 by a long shot in offensive rating on KenPom. And then the defense, right? There's only one team in the top 12 on KenPom, one other team, I should say, that ranks outside the top 12 on defense. And guess who it is? It's inconsistent Purdue. You got Purdue and Illinois, both those top 10 type KenPom teams who don't necessarily want to play a ton of defense, right? So those are teams a little bit more susceptible to those ups and the downs. Which team will we get on a night in and night out basis? I don't know, man. It's tough. But again, if you don't want to play, I don't want to see Illinois in a second round game. You know what I'm saying? Like, not a shot. Let us know what you think in the chat. Let's keep it moving here into our top 10. Mike Gonzaga back a few spots. I say Gonzaga earlier. I say Gonzaga now. You say potato. I say potato. But the Zags moving back a few spots after losing to St. Mary's, of course. And then Iowa State at 9, remaining unchanged, even though they took that ugly loss to Tech yesterday. We are very, very high on Iowa State. I am higher than most at all times on Iowa State. Otzelberger, I love to show him some love, but I try not to show too much love because then it always ends up blowing up. And then, I don't want to put that juju on Iowa State here. But again, that's a super talented team right there on that 2-3 cusp of a seed.
Yep, and then you got Purdue here dropping back 3 spots, just losing at Ohio State. Just the Purdue thing to do. And then Michigan State, the big move up, man. Like, they've won 4 straight. Man, like, it's just Izzo, and it's March. And then the Florida train, Darren's going crazy in the chat, per usual. But there aren't a lot of teams better. There aren't a lot of teams better than Florida right now. I didn't think it was going to work. Like, I really didn't think the three big was going to work. And I didn't think Lee Flan were going to figure it out. Here we are, man. Todd Golden doing his thing.
It's impressive. Like, are we really that surprised though that Florida is going to
Nope.
be one of the teams that's going to probably be in the Final Four? Like,
Yeah.
it's impressive to see some of the changes that they've made and the adjustments as the season has gone on to make that three big system works. And Michigan has as well. They're number 3 in our top 5. No change in our top 4 as we get to the last 5 teams here in our top 25 power rankings. UConn looks like an absolute wagon if Terrace Reed continues to play that kind of defense. We live reacted to their game midweek against St. John's where he looked like baby Shaq. Yeah. And if he continues to, put up 5-6 blocks and that side of intensity on the defensive side of the ball, that's a tough out for anybody as well. And speaking of tough outs, man, Houston, after a brutal stretch, just very unlike a Kelvin Sampson-led team, bouncing back with a 40-point win, little get right over Colorado, man. I mean, again, I'm going to say it. I know that they've looked rough lately. Got Houston in our top 4. I don't care what happens. This could be a team that could definitely be the number 1 team in the country in the Cougars. What say you about them and the rest of this top tier?
Yeah, I think right now there's 3 number 1 seeds that are locked. It's Michigan, Duke, and Arizona. There's a big question mark, and you're seeing it all over college basketball Twitter. Who is the 4th and 1 seed? Is it UConn? Is it Florida? Is it Houston? Purdue is obviously in that conversation. It's going to be tough, but it's clear line of sight for Michigan, Duke, and Arizona. We've obviously got Arizona number 1, just impressive. I mean, all 3 teams, Duke, Michigan, Arizona, played the number 2 team in the standings and, obviously blew them out. So that just kind of tells you the firepower of the top 3. It'll be interesting. It's going to be quite a battle for that 4th number 1 seed.
How about Houston and UConn for a spot in the Final Four?
That would be beautiful. That'd be, I mean, God, I can't wait till we get some of these matchups.
I know.
Can't wait to get the upsets. Can't wait to get the Final Four matchups. Like, it's going to be great.
No doubt about it. Love the chat as well tonight. Ryan saying we got Florida a little too low. They're not high enough. I could see wanting to have Florida as like that 4th team right now with as hot as they've been. But,
yeah,
we have a lot of faith in some of these teams in our top 5 right now. But definitely not many teams playing better than the Gators. Love it, man. What a great show tonight. We appreciate all the interactions. We appreciate all the love in our poll earlier today over on X. Make sure you follow us at One and Done CBB over there. You're going to find our polls. You're going to find our all of our information over there on X. You're going to find out when we're going live again. We got DFS shows coming up. But before we get some DFS much later this coming weekend, we're going to have some live reactions this week. Those shows are usually pretty popular here on the channel, so make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single solitary minute of our college basketball coverage. The One and Done Invitational, bracket challenge, whatever you want to call it. Come be my huckleberry. No, come be a winner. Come be the oracle of One and Done by winning the One and Done bracket challenge. We got the QR code right there next to my dome, right there at the bottom of your screen. Our guy Eric the Blue has flashed the link, which is also in the chat. You can get over there to the bracket challenge and become the oracle of One and Done. Who does not want that title, right? So anyways, appreciate our guy Eric the Blue for pushing the buttons. Shout out to our guy Nate somewhere on the moon right now, but we know he's around in the One and Done universe, and we're happy that you are too. All of you, whether you watched on X, whether you watched on YouTube, whether you watched on your sundial, whether you just stared into your microwave and you pretended like you can hear me and Mike talking, doesn't matter. However you absorb One and Done, we definitely appreciate you for doing so. 2 weeks until the bracket, Mike. I can't wait to share it with you. Who is also around here known as El Capitan himself. That's right. At MC Holland 34 on X, the OG Money Mike, the Comet Chaser, Mr. Mike Holland. We'll see you next time right here on the channel. Never go too far. Push the notification bells and the subscribe button as well. Take care of yourselves. Tell somebody that you love them. Until next time, I'm JayHeinrich. Come again. We'll see you.